Hello, I'm Laura McHarrie at the Hidden Edge with another tea break tip on how to use business models and tools to help you manage your growing business. Today we're looking at strategic drift and how to recognise it. First, we will explore Johnson, Scholes and Whittington's model of the same name, and then Thompson's alternative SWOT model entitled E-V-R Congruence Concept. So what is strategic drift then? Most businesses quite rightly develop incrementally based on historical success. It makes no sense to dramatically change your business model if you're in line with environmental changes that are happening in and around your business. The challenge, and it is a big challenge for managers, is the question around when should they make changes rather than rely on incremental ones, those dramatic changes that make a big difference to one's business model. So let's first explore then what strategic drift looks like. There are 4 phases in this model. Phase 1 illustrates the business keeping pace with the incremental changes in the external environment. Phase 2 illustrates when there is an environmental change that internally the business either isn't aware of or has ignored. For example, there are many businesses running around trying to sort out GDPR in preparation for the May change in the law. Not always are environmental changes so cut and dry. Phase 3 illustrates a period of flux. It is triggered by a downturn in key performance indicators. The management is realising a need to make some changes, but they are uncertain of what needs to be done. They may make some changes and test out some ideas, but there is no clear direction. Increasingly, the board becomes under pressure from shareholders and other stakeholders. Finally, Phase 4 illustrates one of 2 options: transformational change and success, or death. Neither is an easy option to implement. The rise and fall of many business stories like Marks and Spencer's, Xerox, Kodak and Nokia, to name but a few, illustrate that not all will survive. The reasons can be varied, but often things like stakeholder relationships can shackle, or performance results are lagged and the board doesn't realise it until it's too late. So what can we do about this? John L. Thompson suggests that strategic drift occurs when these 3 business elements are not aligned. They include resources, environment, and values. The resources include organisational operations, assets, competencies, and efficiencies. They are the strengths and the weaknesses inside the business. The environmental elements include political, economic, socio, cultural, technological, environmental, legal, markets, customers, and of course competitors. These are the opportunities and the threats of the external environment to the business. Then values include the expectations of stakeholders within the business, the management style, the leadership, and the culture. And these are the leadership and management skills that you have within the business. Of course, the things that you might be looking out for is the feasibility of having the resources to be able to make some changes. From an environmental perspective, we're looking at the suitability of the options open to you in your business model. And from a values perspective, we're looking at the acceptability of making changes to the expectations of shareholders, the management style, the leadership and culture. And that's quite an interesting thing to work through with the flux issue. It is difficult to see things that are relevant to your business when you are at the rock face. So using an external advisor A non-exec, your accountant, perhaps your manager might be able to help you, just to be able to point out where you may be blind to things. Use Thompson's model to assess your business on a regular basis to ensure that you're not blind to internal strengths and weaknesses in relation to the external changes to your business environment. Insight is a wonderful thing, but often far too late. Use Thompson's congruence model to assist with your business foresight. Download the templates from the Hidden Edge website, and whilst you're there, do share your stories of what's worked well for you in the past when you've looked at your business environment. So until next tea break time, enjoy the rest of this one.